Hey everyone, welcome back. Hope everyone had a great Friday and a great week. So it's the end of the week right now. We're going to take a look at a lot of stories. We have a lot to cover, so I'm going to probably break this video down into 4 different videos. The main thing we're going to talk about today is going to be the markets. So let's take a look at the markets here. We got the markets, and then we also have some news stories as well as far as what's going on in the miners. There's a lot. So I missed yesterday because I had family over, and that's the reason why I'm kind of behind a little bit, so I got to catch up. But we have Hut 8 provided business combination with USBTC update. Soluna expands hosting business. We're going to talk about that. We also have Greenidge. They provided some updates as well, along with Bitfarms, Core Scientific, and then we got Cleanspark and Stronghold that we're going to get through right now. And the next videos that we're going to do is going to be on Argo Blockchain. They provided their fiscal year 2022 numbers. We're going to look at those along with Digital. They provided their numbers as well. So we're going to look at those in another video. And then the final and fourth video we're going to look at are some of the metrics updated for, I believe it was DMG, DigiHost, and Core Scientific as well. So we got that one to go through as well. So there's going to be a lot of stuff coming out within the next 24 hours or so once I get these all done for you guys. All right, so let's get into it here. And as always, you guys know the drill. This is not financial advice, for entertainment only. Do your own research. I'm invested in following coins and companies for full disclosure. And if you enjoy this type of content, hit the like button, subscribe. Helps me out tremendously. And let's get into all that we got to talk about. So first is going to be obviously the markets. The markets were actually up today. Bitcoin and I believe Ethereum was, I got to look at Ethereum. I didn't look at Ethereum yet, but I think Ethereum was up on the day. But markets were up. So S&P was up 0.83% to 4169. Dow Jones was up 0.8 to 34,098, and the NASDAQ was up 0.65 to 13,245. Bitcoin on the other hand was down today 0.49% to a close of 29,338. Right now, as far as the charts are concerned, I mean, the daily chart still looks okay to me. The 4-hour chart is starting to look a little bit worrisome. We can see here that the RSI is at 58. Last time the RSI was here, so we're still up in price, but it's starting to kind of wean down a little bit. And what I mean by that is on the 1-hour chart, you can see here that the RSI is at 52. Last time we were back here was right about there, and price was at that point almost where we are right now. So I'm starting to think that we may be coming down over the weekend, but we'll see if that is the case or not. Right now, it's just not looking too great, especially when we look at it on the 1-hour chart right now. So it's still kind of like in this indecisive mode right now where it doesn't know where it wants to go, either up or down. And hopefully we'll get some more conclusive data going in after the weekend into next week as we head into the first of the new month in May. So if we look at the monthly here, let's take a look at the monthly here. Monthly, it looks like we might be up again here in April, depending on where we end up this weekend. So that's going to be a deciding factor here. We did have a, let me see here. We're up about 3% right now in the month on Bitcoin. It is, let me see, the low is 26,965. We are currently at 29,330, right? So we're quite a ways above that. I don't think we're going to fall that far down over the weekend. So I would expect us to be still in the green for the end of the month. So that would be good. We've had 1, 2, 3, 4 months in a row where we've been green. And 2 of the months were kind of slow or minor progress. We've had 2 really good months where we went up 39% in January. And then in March, we went up 23% as well. So a little bit of a pause here in the action here. It looks like in April and in February as well. Okay, but we'll see how this continues going forward. We'll keep you guys posted on that one. Let's take a look at Ethereum here as well while we're at it. So Ethereum right now was actually down today. So it was down, that was up at one point, but it's down 0.86% to a close of 1,192. It's down a little bit more right now to 1,190. On the 4-hour chart, we can see that the RSI right now is at 50. Last time it was back here on the 50, it was actually lower in price, so that still looks pretty good there on the 4-hour chart. On the 1-hour chart, we're at 43. Last time we were back here, right about there. Price was actually right around the same spot, like I said, so it's kind of looking a little bit like we may have a reversal happening, where the price of both Bitcoin and Ethereum might go down a little bit here over the weekend, but we'll see, especially as we lead into the new month of May. Okay, but we'll keep an eye on that one as well. And if we look at the monthly on Ethereum as well, we can see that Ethereum is going to be up about 3.76% roughly, depending where it finishes out on Sunday. But right now it's about 3.76. And we had a great month in March. March we were up 13.49%. And then in April we were only up 1.26%. And in January we were up 32% as well. So 4 good months of continued growth here. We kind of saw the same thing happening here back in the bull run that we had in 2020. right? We had a good month, somewhat of a slower month, a good month, slower, good month, and then we had a good month again, and then we came down a little bit here. So we'll see if we get that same pattern where we're up maybe another month or two in the next 2 months, okay? Now, as far as the miners are concerned here, let's take a look at those guys as well. We can see here that ANY was actually down today 3.97% to 44 cents. Argo was actually up today 4.01% to $1.43. BitDigital was up 3.66 to $1.98. Bitfarms was down 4.92% to $1.16. Cypher was down 1.28% to $2.31. Cleanspark was down 1.51% to $3.91. Cores was down 3.75% to 38 cents. DigiHost was flat on the day, $1.72. DMG was down 2.09% to 22 cents. Greenidge was down 9.48% to 49 cents. Hive was down 4.42% to $3.24. Hut was down 1.65% to $1.79. Iris Energy was down 5.44% to $4. Marathon was up 0.1% to $10.07. Mawson was flat on the day at $3.15. Riot was up 1.01% to $11.96. Soluna was up nicely today, 19.55% to 20 cents. That might be based on some of the news that came out here. And Stronghold was up, or down, sorry, 2.48% to 98 cents. Wolf was up 5.33% to $1.78. And that's it for the miners. So kind of mixed bag on the miners. And let's take a look at the network hash rate, see what's going on there. We'll get into the news really quick. Okay, so on the network hash rate on the 7-day average, we are down to 334, which is a low that we've had here for not for a while at least. Last time we were lower than that was back in beginning of April right now. So things have come down a little bit here on the 7-day average. If we look at the 1 day, we did come down to a low of 302 million, and then we spiked back up here to 355 right now. So we are kind of going sideways a little bit right now on the network hash rate. As miners start installing more miners, I'm expecting that to go up unless something else is happening that I'm not realizing that's happening, okay? So that's it for those guys and everything else. Let's get into our first couple stories here that we got through in this video, and then we'll get into the other things in the other videos as well. So Hut 8 provides update on business combination with USBTC. I thought this was actually really good news here, and kind of, well, I think it's good news. So the transaction is expected to establish New Hut as a large-scale publicly traded Bitcoin miner focused on economical mining, highly diversified revenue streams, and industry-leading environmental, social, and governance ESG practices. But here's some of the details. New Hut has filed an amendment to its Form S-4 registration statement, and here's some of the details in it. So New Hut's expected installed self-mining capacity has increased from the previously disclosed 5.6 exahash to 7.02 exahash in mining facilities in Medicine Hat and Drumheller in Alberta, Niagara Falls, New York, Kearney, Nebraska, and Granbury and King Mountain in Texas upon the close of the transaction. So this is really good there. The improvement is due to the energization of additional miners at USBTC sites, right? So they're the ones that are actually growing here. It's not Hut. And this is where we're kind of getting into the merger of equals. If we look at Hut 8 really quick as far as what they have currently, they're currently at about 2.6 exahash right now, 2.595 roughly, right around there, 2.6. They're supposed to be about 3.28, but with the problems that they're having at one of the facilities being shut down because of the lawsuit and everything else, they should have been closer to 3.2, but that's obviously having an impact on them. Now, with them getting to 7 point something, it looks like USBTC is bringing to the table approximately, what would that be, about 4.4 exahash. Right, so they have actually more exahash if we're not counting what's not running at that one facility. So that's kind of what I'm getting at here. I don't know if it's going to be including this 3.2 that's not running right now. We can see it down here in the numbers that those were turned off here, right here. So we got approximately, what is it? We got these right here, and we got some of these over here as well that are not running, which gets us to approximately, and then these over here as well. So about 760 petahash or so that are not running right now, which is kind of surprising that they still haven't figured this out yet and haven't moved the machines over yet. But like I said, they're supposed to be doing a merger of equals, but it looks like USBTC is actually bringing a little bit more to the table as far as hash rate growth is concerned, but they do have possibly more debt than Hut 8 is, so they're kind of in a pinch right now, and Hut 8 is kind of rescuing them, I believe. But you guys can look into all those details on that, okay? So I just wanted to point that out. And then let's see here. On April 7th, 2023, USBTC entered into a settlement with the city of Niagara Falls, which concluded all claims related to the ongoing litigation with the city and terminated the temporary restraining order against USBTC. USBTC was required to pay the city of Niagara Falls a $100,000 compliance fee and to contribute $180,000 to the city's attorney's fees as well. So basically, they had to pay $280,000 and all that. That's good that that's finally done and over with, and they can possibly get back to mining in there. So that's at least one thing that's taken off the to-do list. And then since announcing this transaction, we have made measurable progress on key files that will positively position the new HUD to be very competitive in the market with 7.02 exahash of self-mining capacity. This is actually really good growth for HUD 8. They've been pretty stagnant here over the last year plus, not growing really much, just whatever they had already ordered. And nothing else or nothing new was announced for miners being purchased. So this is good for them. But it all depends on how everything works out with this merger, right? There's still a lot of questions involving that. Continuing on here, in addition, we have the flexibility for growth in new fiat revenue lines of business, including hosting and managed infrastructure operations, allowing us to amplify our diversification strategy, which will ultimately prove to be present well beyond the next halving event. So this is good, right? I definitely still want them to concentrate more on self-mining, Bitcoin, and everything else, because that's where the real cash is. Hosting is a margins business. You're looking at, depending on how good your margins are, between 10 and maybe 20% if you're lucky. If you're great, you're maybe getting 30% on that. So it's not the greatest margins in that. And then as far as infrastructure operations managed, I don't know what those are like. We'll have to see when we actually get some actual numbers for those and compare them to other things to see what the margins are on those as well. Okay, so that's it. I thought this was good, and this will definitely be a plus for HUD 8, growing their hash rate, especially into the halving event that's coming up next year. Okay, but we still need to have them. I'd like to see them grow more. That's what I'm trying to say. All right, so that's HUD 8 there. I think that was it. Yeah, that was it. Let's take a look at Soluna here. So Soluna expands hosting business and strikes deal with Compass Mining at Project Dorothy. So this is good for them. Again, hosting, I'm not a big fan of hosting. I wish they would have done self-mining instead. But I'm guessing that they are cash strapped right now, so they are trying to fill up that facility with something that can actually generate income for them in the time being. So Soluna today announced a 5 megawatt hosting contract with Compass Mining at its Project Dorothy data center in Texas. This is the one that they're really concentrating on right now. The hosting contract entails a 2-year partnership between Soluna and Compass for 5 megawatts of Bitcoin mining at Project Dorothy 1A. Soluna's data center, which sources much of its energy from a co-located wind farm, so that's great. And then Project Dorothy 1A monetizes a substantial amount of the curtailment experienced by the wind farm. In addition to hosting, Soluna will provide, I'm guessing, operations and management services for Compass. So that's fine there. And I think that was it. Yep. So like I said, this is good for them. This gives them a little bit cash. Not much, because you're talking about smaller margins, but at least they're going to be able to utilize that facility a little bit and get some cash for it as well, get some revenue for it. Because it doesn't look like they have the cash to buy their own miners right now, which would have been preferred method. But the stock is way down where it's at. So, I mean, if you dilute right now, you're going to be diluting a crap ton. Okay? So that doesn't make any sense. So this kind of makes sense right now as it is. All right, next is going to be Greenidge. Generation deploys 8,400 rigs with capacity of about 1 exahash. So this is good for them that they are growing again. We'll see what their hash rate growth is like. And I'm trying to think if they are actually providing, let me take a look at it. Do I have Greenidge in here? I think I don't. And that's because they don't provide monthly updates. So I would hope that they would start providing those. It would be kind of nice to get those guys back in here, since they are starting to grow a little bit here. So Greenidge today announced it has entered into an agreement with Core Scientific Inc., in which Core will host and operate Greenidge-owned Bitcoin miners at its facilities in Dalton, Georgia, and Calvert City, Kentucky. Greenidge also announced the installation of an additional 1,500 company-owned miners at the company's existing facilities across the country. Together, this successfully completes the deployment of the 9,150 Greenidge miners. So that's good there. They got those going. And the agreement with Core Scientific completes this phase in our strategy to deploy 9,150 miners Greenidge owns. And we believe this agreement will significantly improve our profitability as we move forward. And I think they stated somewhere that it's going to be, yeah, here it is. In addition, our team has shown tremendous creativity in constructing new miner slots at our facilities across the country, allowing us to capitalize on low natural gas prices in the U.S. and beneficial cost structures. At current Bitcoin economics, the combination of these two initiatives and our previously announced agreement with CoinEffects Timber Inc. represents approximately 7.5 million of incremental annual profit and significantly improves our ability to generate cash. So this is good for them as well. But time will tell. And then here's some key details on the hosting. 1-year agreement between Greenidge and Core Scientific to host miners owned by Greenidge. It includes a proceed sharing component to recognize the contribution of miners by Greenidge and the infrastructure and operating expertise provided by Core Scientific. So they're going to be doing something where it's a percentage of Bitcoin mined along with a fee for electricity and things like that. So this is good for Core, and it's, I think, good for Greenidge. But like I said, I'm not a big fan of hosting. So anytime there's hosting involved, I know it's sometimes beneficial to do that because you don't have to deploy capital to get your own miners, but you have the facilities to do it. So in Core Scientific's circumstance, I think this is good for them as well, and good for Greenidge as well. All right, so that's that one. Let's take a look at the next one here. So Bitfarms achieves hash rate all-time high of 5 exahash. This is great. Still want to see them grow more, and it's finally nice to see that the Argentina facilities were up and running. So as disclosed on April 24th, 2023, in Argentina, 2,100 new miners were energized, and the underclocking of existing miners was discontinued as scheduled, directly contributing an additional 250 petahash of total production. So that's great there. And then here's a quote from Geoff Murphy, CEO of Bitfarms. Bitfarms reached a new all-time high of 5 exahash by expanding production at our Rio Cuarto farm in Argentina to 18 megawatts. This exciting moment reflects our team's hard work over the last 2 years, resulting in our largest, most advanced, and lowest cost facility. So this is really good news. They do have a lot of room there to grow as well going into the future. So with our new miner purchases and further expansion opportunities, we expect our farm in Argentina to be a significant growth driver in the coming months as we build toward our year-end goal of 6 exahash. So that would be a nice improvement there, but they still have a lot of time to go. We'd like to see them grow even beyond that, getting close to maybe 7, 8 exahash by the end of the year, if not higher, if that's possible. Here's a quote from Jeff Lucas, CFO. So with the expected energy cost below 3 cents per kilowatt and highly efficient new Bitcoin miners, the farm in Argentina is a key component of our strategy to control cost and maintain our best-in-class average cost of Bitcoin mined while increasing top-line revenue. And that is a very, very, very good cost for electricity there, around 3 cents per kilowatt. And they have that for, I don't know how long they're going to have that. I think it's a couple of years. Nonetheless, that's a great cost for them and a great way for diversification as well. So they're in Canada, US, Argentina. I think there's somewhere in Paraguay also, possibly. I'm trying to think. But my mind could be a little fuzzy on that one. Nonetheless, this is great news for Bitfarms. Love seeing this. Like I said, love to see them grow even more than that. Try to keep up at least with, possibly with after the merger with Hut 8. They're getting to 7. See if they can get at least to 7, maybe 8. Keep up with those guys. And then I doubt they're going to be able to keep up with the likes of Riot, Cleanspark, and Marathon. Those guys are on a rampage right now. Okay, so great news for Bitfarms. Let's go into the next one here. Core Scientific signs hosting contracts with 3 public companies during reorganization, maintains industry position as one of North America's largest Bitcoin miners. They are still one of the largest there, but Marathon is, chopping at the heels on them. And here's what we got. So Core Scientific today announced agreements to host 17,935 Bitcoin mining machines at Core Scientific state-of-the-art facilities with 3 companies, including 6,914 units from Greenidge, which we just talked about here a little bit, and 10,000 units from Ault Alliance, and 1,021 units from LM Funding. And let's see here, these agreements positions long-term growth. The company completes so they're still obviously in the reorganization process, and we'll see how that is going to move forward, but it does help them out in the near term. So Core Scientific expects to have significant additional capacity in the near future to host additional mining equipment. In that regard, the company is engaged in conversations for potential hosting agreements with other customers as well. So that's good there as well. Hopefully they were able to get their hosting margins up, and we can take a look at some of the margins that we've seen here for hosting on Core Scientific. If we go to Core, we got the new spreadsheet here for Core. Let me see here. Let me go to 125. There we go. And down here, let me see here, revenues. Revenues, we can see here hosting revenue from related parties, hosting revenue from customers. If anybody knows what the difference is between the two, if you guys could comment that in the comments, I would appreciate it. I still don't know what the difference is between related parties and customers. But here's what we got. So in Q3, they had approximately, what was that, 44.9 million. And if we look at the profits here, we can see here that the cost of everything else, costs of hosting services was 44.9 for hosting equipment sales, digital dollars, digital asset mining. That was themselves. Yeah, hosting, you can see here was 44.975 million in cost. So that is just barely, well, that's actually above. The costs are actually higher right now than they are. So profit margin mining is negative 0.01. They were at negative 12.1% here in Q2. And profit margin hosting in Q1 was approximately, let me see here, that one was, what was that one? That one was 33 million in revenue on that, and their cost was 31, so they actually did have a little bit of a profit margin on it. So like I said, hosting is not the best business, at least margin-wise when you're looking at it. Some of the other miners are also not making much money on it. I think Riot is also losing money on it right now, but they had contracts in place, I believe, before that, and that's why I'm not a fan of hosting at all. Just especially when Bitcoin goes down in the south, things get really messy quickly. Okay, so that's it for Core Scientific, I believe. I don't think there's anything else. No, there isn't. Okay, so that's it for Core. It's good for them, but I definitely want to see their mining margins improve. And we don't have their financial numbers yet for Q4, which would be nice to see if those did improve at all. Like they said, they were going to be working on those. Okay, so that's it for Core Scientific. Next, we got just two quick updates here. So Cleanspark executives to discuss fiscal second quarter 2023 financial results via webcast. That's going to be happening here on, let me see, when is that happening? That's happening May 10th. So about 2 weeks ago, or 2 weeks away from that. So that's kind of good there. We'll see how their Q1 or their Q2 is going to be for this year. We'll see. We'll take a look at all the numbers. We'll see if those improved or if not, and we'll talk about it then. So that's it for Cleanspark. Next is going to be Stronghold. Stronghold Digital Mining sets first quarter 2023 earnings as well. Conference call is going to be on May 11th at 11. Let's see, and that's the only thing we got here. So that's a day after Cleanspark reports. We'll obviously cover it when it does happen, and we'll get into all of it, okay? So up next, in the next videos, is going to be probably, I'll get into either Argo Blockchain and BitDigital with their fiscal year 2022 numbers, or I'll get into the updates to the spreadsheets for DigiHost, DMG, and Core Scientific as well, I believe, are the ones that I just updated here, I believe, yesterday. So those will be coming out, and then that should be it. Okay, a lot going on there. So stay tuned for the other videos. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like button, subscribe, helps me out tremendously. As always, the Patreon members get all of my spreadsheets. The YouTube members get the printouts of the charts, I guess you could say, the dashboards for the miners. Okay, thank you to everyone there, and thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys have a great weekend, and I'll see you guys in the next one.